Tonight on Grady Newsource, we're making sure you're informed, prepared, and safe before heading to the polls tomorrow. Political analyst Dr. Charles Bullock joins us in the newsroom to break down what's at stake for Georgia and the nation. Plus, after a 2-year battle, Jackson County is getting close to a decision on a controversial proposal after a local commission meeting went until midnight. And don't toss those jack-o'-lanterns just yet. We'll take you to a local zoo where leftover pumpkins are a special treat for some furry residents. All this and more tonight on Grady Newsource.
This is Northeast Georgia's only local source for TV news. From the Grady College at the University of Georgia, this is Grady Newsource.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Jackson Rowland, and welcome to Grady Newsource. Voters will be casting ballots in less than 24 hours in Georgia, which is a key swing state for both candidates. I'm now joined by political analyst Dr. Charles Bullock. And Dr. Bullock, thank you for joining us. We'll get right into the election. As far as Georgia, we've seen unprecedented numbers of early voters turning out at the polls. How do you believe that affects tomorrow?
Well, what it tells us is that Republicans have done a very good job of getting their people out, much better than Democrats have. And we know this. It's not because of how people register to vote, but we look at the counties and how the counties have voted. And in Georgia, about 30 counties are Democratic counties, and that leaves around 129 that are Republican counties. And so in those Republican counties, the votes are way up. Democratic counties, which for the most part are the urban counties, have not seen that kind of turnout. So if Democrats are going to win this state, they've got to go to the polls tomorrow.
All right, and one popular question for voters right now is, when will we know the official results in Georgia? When can they know who's winning these elections?
To know with finality may depend upon how close the contest is. If we're talking about hundreds or just a few thousand votes, then it's going to be maybe towards the end of the week. But these early votes are going to be counted much quicker than we've seen before. And so by 8 o'clock or shortly after 8 o'clock, we may get a pretty good idea about the 4 million votes that have already been cast. Now, what happens tomorrow? 4 years ago, we had 5 million votes cast overall. We now have an extra million people who have registered. So we might have 1 million votes cast tomorrow, maybe even more than that. Those are the ones that are going to take some time to figure out. And as I said earlier, if indeed Democrats are playing catch up tomorrow, then we're going to have to wait till they come in to see if they offset what I anticipate. It's going to be an early Republican lead.
And moving from the presidential election, what local and state races are you paying attention to right now that are the most significant to you?
Well, here in Georgia, we know how to gerrymander, and so we don't really have any congressional contests that are going to be at all interesting. And we don't have a whole lot of state legislative contests. There's one of the 56 Senate seats that may be up for grabs and no more than 10 in the House. Now, if we boil it right down here to the specifics of Clark County, then really it's the contest for the district attorney, where there is an independent challenging the incumbent. And 2 counties there participate in that. It's Clark and Oconee. Oconee will probably almost certainly vote for the challenger, so it's going to boil down to Clark County, and Clark County has far more voters than does Oconee.
An important election, no doubt. And if you had to boil down the few issues that you believe will be the most influential toward the outcome of this presidential election, what would you say some of those topics are?
Well, the ones that Republicans have run on primarily, and indeed most voters say that they think Republicans will do a somewhat better job on these issues, would be the economy, however you package it, whether simply the economy or inflation or jobs. That one seems to have a Republican advantage, although it is narrowed in terms of the share of the voters who say they think Trump would do a better job on that than Harris would. And the other one, which works for Republicans, is immigration. The big thing for Democrats is the abortion issue, and that mobilizes women, and the women's vote is going to be important to see, does it offset the male vote? We know that the male vote, particularly the young male voters, are going to be very Republican. What about college-educated women? That's a group that is more likely to provide potentially the needed votes that a Democrat, if indeed Harris can carry Georgia. She's going to be relying upon that.
Well, as always, Dr. Bullock, we thank you for being on the show. Always appreciate your expertise. And with Election Day just days away, Vice President Kamala Harris energized a crowd in Atlanta at her rally, urging Georgians to vote and make their voices count on issues like abortion rights and unity of the nation. Grady Newsource reporter Riley Kehoe was on the scene. Let's take a look.
Atlanta, say vote! Say vote! Outside the Atlanta Civic Center, thousands braved the heat to hear Vice President Kamala Harris at the When We Vote, We Will Win rally.
I see smiles, I see excitement, I see fun, I see peace, and definitely I stand for that, and I'm looking for that, and I'm looking for her to, let me know more of how she's going to unite this United States.
Harris called for unity, stressing that every vote helps shape a nation where all voices are heard.
And here is my pledge to you. As president, I pledge to seek common ground and common sense solutions to the challenges you face. I am not looking to score political points. I am looking to make progress.
Political science expert Dr. Johnson sees parallels between Harris's message and Obama's 2008 campaign, highlighting the challenge of bridging deep divides.
I bring that up because, once in office, it was a huge challenge. You saw polarization and division, and one would arguably say that things have perhaps become even more tense.
Harris took a firm stance on abortion rights, criticizing recent state bans without exceptions.
In America, 1 in 3 women lives in a state with a Trump abortion ban, including Georgia and every state in the South except Virginia. Many with no exceptions for rape and incest, which is immoral. And look, Donald Trump's not done. He will ban abortion nationwide.
Trump's campaign says he plans to leave abortion laws up to individual states. For many attendees like Jerome Lewis, abortion rights are a top concern.
Roe versus Wade, we have to get this back on the books. Too many women dying, being raped and sodomized, and got to have babies by someone that raped them is wrong.
Dr. Johnson noted that the issue is mobilizing voters, especially women.
And that might resonate with not just perhaps younger voters, but perhaps older women voters who remember pre-Roe.
Harris closed the rally with a hopeful message. Real change is possible, but only if people show up to vote. Reporting for Grady Newsource, I'm Riley Kehoe.
Both candidates have made multiple trips to Georgia this campaign season, putting a large emphasis on the battleground states. Donald Trump made his latest Georgia appearance on Sunday with the rally in Macon. And following news of burned ballots in Washington state, poll workers being assaulted in Texas, and a person wielding a machete outside of a Florida polling location, we go live to Grady Newsource reporter Noah Bice outside the elections office to see how local officials are working to ensure every voter can cast their ballot safely.
Hey Jackson, today I spoke with elections assistant Lisa McGlawn because stories like this have been popping up recently, and she tells us a little bit about what Athens-Clarke County is doing to keep voters safe and what they've seen so far through early voting.
Athens-Clarke is a friendly county, and what we saw during early voting, even though maybe the rest of the nation, well, it seems like the nation is really poised to be prepared for some type of violence or just people being angry. We didn't see any of that during early voting, and we've already voted. Almost 50% of our voters have already come to the polls. Everybody seemed very happy to be there. So I would just tell people that I think that's what you're going to see on Election Day.
McGlawn also says that election managers are receiving two-way radios that are connecting them to an emergency operations center, which is new to Athens-Clarke County. This will allow managers to contact the center for any concerns they have regarding safety, whether that be fire, crime, weather. And this will give them an immediate response from emergency services. That's all I learned today. Jackson, back to you.
Thank you, Noah. 2 weeks from now, the battle over the proposed Jackson County rock quarry could reach a decision. The Jackson County Board of Commission is set to take a vote on the Vulcan Materials proposal after a planning commission meeting that lasted until midnight. Grady Newsource reporter Tori Newman breaks down the impending vote.
The Jackson County Planning Commission unanimously voted to recommend denying Vulcan Materials' proposal, taking a stance before the Board of Commissioners are set to vote.
I beg you to think about it.
Vulcan was met with a sea of neon shirts, signs, and displays in protest of the proposal to develop a quarry off Highway 441. The proposal includes a property area of almost 900 acres, with 200 acres set aside for conservation.
It's all about listening. It's all about finding a win-win, and it's all about trying to anticipate future needs of the areas where we operate.
Following a near 80-minute presentation by Vulcan's lawyer, David Ellison, a revolving line of community members spoke to the Planning Commission in contest, including former UJ professor of hydrology and water resources, Todd Rasmussen.
There was a lack of information for the most part on everything I wanted to learn. It was disappointed in the quality of their application.
The Planning Commission staff also recommended denial unless Vulcan were to follow 21 special conditions. Public Development Director Jamie Dove and her staff followed the results of a risk index study to reach their decision.
It came back with a lot of air quality, water quality, just a lot of environmental concerns that we agreed with.
The Board of Commissioners has 3 options come November 18th, voting to approve, deny, or pushing the decision back to December.
My hope that the commissioners would look to the future and say, what is Jackson County going to look like in 10 years, 50 years, sometime in the future?
Vulcan hopes that future includes them aiding in Jackson County's growth.
It helps grow investment in the county, it helps support good paying jobs, and it provides a really necessary material that will support the growth of the region overall.
For Grady Newsource, I'm Tori Newman.
Coming up after the break, we'll tell you how a new active shooter training is planning to keep students safe. Dude, for a second I was like, we are Charles? I was about to just be like, I'll make something up.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
You're home before sunrise, on top of the house, the kids, and our future. The smell of your cooking is our alarm clock. My Shiro's day is never done. So let's start saving a little more now so we can feel prepared for retirement. A free 3-minute online chat can give us the personalized tips we need so we can live our lives to the fullest. Visit aceyourretirement.org.
Julie was always a voracious reader. She'd carry 2 novels on an airplane because she'd read one on a 3-4 hour ride. And at some point, I began to notice that she would read a page and couldn't remember what she had just read, and she'd have to go back and read it again.
I don't remember much these days after I read, but less does for me, and I love it.
Hey world, I have a quick message. It's about safe driving. All right, let's go. Anytime you're driving, have the seatbelt buckled tight, both hands on the wheel and your phone out of sight. When not in your hand trying to text somebody back, because if you do, your car might get smacked. The moral of the story, just put your phone down. The people on the road will stay safe and sound. Put your phone down, put your phone down. People on the road will stay safe and sound. Yeah.
A new company in Oconee County is teaching community members emergency medical skills like CPR. Since the shooting at Appalachian High School in September, they've started offering active shooter trainings. Reporter Juliana Russ has more.
Wesley Butler worked as a paramedic for 10 years. He noticed that a lot of people don't know how to do CPR effectively, so he started Guardian Reach in May to provide training for Oconee County families.
That was something I could bring to the table. There wasn't really a business in Oconee County that taught this.
He soon enlisted a friend, self-defense instructor and former law enforcement officer Brent Register, to help him with these trainings.
We started doing some classes, and then the Appalachian school shooting happened.
They decided to develop an active shooter training program to help teenagers and their families better prepare for the worst.
We want to make it available for people that feel like their families could benefit from it. If a parent felt like their child was old enough to be taught this stuff and have a mature conversation.
We really encourage the parents to come as well because we want them to know it, because they can reinforce it.
Their first active shooter training sessions happened over the weekend, attracting Oconee County parents and their children.
I learned that you don't go to a police officer and you keep your hands up, and if somebody's bleeding, make sure it's safe to go out there first.
It's really helpful because you never know what to do in those situations.
Most school shootings are over in minutes, so Register says response time is key.
It comes down to how long your child is under fire. 1 second's too long.
They discussed run, hide, fight techniques, fatal funnels, and did a stop the bleed training session, which went over the ABCs of bleeding control. Participants even had the opportunity to practice putting tourniquets on.
You lose the majority of people because you don't know how to stop the bleeding. So I really think that's the most important part.
Butler says Guardian Reach will continue to offer these active shooter trainings as long as there is demand for them.
Just because that person comes in there and is wreaking havoc and taking control away from people, that they still have control to move forward and be good and be the shining light in a tragedy like this.
Juliana Russ, Grady Newsource.
A community race is making strides toward fundraising for the arts and music programs in Athens. Grady Newsource reporter Keisha Chestnut tells us how one event helps raise money for the arts.
AthHalf kicks off bringing runners to run a half marathon around Athens. But for many, it's more than just a race. It's a way to support arts education for Athens youth.
Woo! 13.1 miles is no joke, especially for me. But there are some people who are running for a cause. This goes back to Ath Education, which pours into our music and arts program here in Athens. So put those running shoes on and get to running.
An Education Next study shows schools with expanding arts education, students are 20.7% less likely to get in trouble at school, allowing more time for school engagement. Mary Joyce is one of the organizers of AthHalf, and she emphasizes every dollar goes straight to help fund the youth programs.
Registration for the AthHalf, every t-shirt bought for the AthFest Music Festival goes to making sure the next generation in this town has the same access to the arts and music.
Volunteer Gina Jackson shares this event wouldn't be possible without the efforts from everyone, from the family members supporting to the volunteers helping.
It's truly something where the community from all angles come together. Everybody's job is important.
Audrey Knoper won second place among the women runners, and she says having a great support system made it all worth it.
Every time I passed my family and friends, I literally started running about 30 seconds faster. I was just so happy to see them and have them all support me.
The money raised would go out as grants to local arts educators, mostly in Clark County School District, to support students. Making every mile count, Keisha Chestnut, Grady Newsource.
Georgia softball is getting a big boost with a brand new training facility. Grady Newsource reporter Savannah Hernandez tells us how these upgrades are helping the growth of women's sports.
MTV, welcome to Georgia softball's new crib.
And we have the turf area, a cool space for us, and we have it all to ourselves, basically.
Catcher Lindy Ray Davis and the Bulldogs are gearing up for the upcoming season with a major upgrade. A brand new $38.5 million training facility at Jack Turner Stadium.
Finally seeing it being done is like super unreal.
The new facility offers over 20,000 square feet dedicated to player development.
Definitely the nicest in the country for sure.
With a 4-lane batting cage, weight room, locker room, hydro recovery pools, a nutrition kitchen, and more.
I think this is, if not the nicest, probably top 2 nicest softball facilities in the nation.
But this state-of-the-art facility means more than new equipment and training spaces. It's an investment in women's sports.
This is just great for women's sports, and certainly it's great for our program, but it's great for college softball and certainly women's athletics as well.
Even though funding for college sports is growing across the board, there's still a big gap in how that money gets divided between men's and women's programs. Division I athletic departments are spending nearly twice as much on men's teams compared to women's.
We give everything to those girls who have kind of paved the way for us.
Women's softball specifically is growing. It's one of the largest growing sports with women.
With the 2025 SEC tournament coming to Athens, the new facility is sure to generate excitement for the Dogs.
I'm definitely excited to for the other teams in the SEC to see what we have just from a point of they're part of the growth in softball as well.
Goodnight says this new facility is a game changer for Georgia softball. Savannah Hernandez, Grady Newsource.
We're finally starting to see some rain across the state after a very dry October. Newsource anchor Melanie Levy will help us get prepared for more wintertime weather and earlier sunsets right after the break.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
I think I finally found.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, Mason.
Hey, Mason.
Got a new house. It's looking pretty cool so far. A place that I call home.
I'm teaching Louise how to cook some lasagna.
It only takes a spark to make a fire start.
Thank you.
Study, please. I think I finally found a place to make my own. A place that I call home. This place that I call home.
You're home before sunrise. On top of the house, the kids, and our future. The smell of your cooking is our alarm clock. My Shiro's day is never done. So let's start saving a little more now so we can feel prepared for retirement. A free 3-minute online chat can give us the personalized tips we need so we can live our lives to the fullest. Visit aceyourretirement.org.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Melanie Levy, and thanks for sticking around for our 5-day forecast. First off, break out your umbrellas because it's about to get wet this week with Athens' first real stretch of rain since Hurricane Helene in September. Now, we've seen a pretty cloudy and rainy day here in Athens with a high of 70, dipping down to 59 degrees tonight. On Election Day this Tuesday, we'll have a cloudy and foggy day, but it'll reach back up into higher temperatures, feeling that warm early fall weather with a high of 77 and a low of 63. And with all those clouds should come some more rain. Now, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday have chances of showers with daytime highs in the mid-70s and nighttime lows in the 60s. So be sure to wear your rain boots and your raincoat wherever you go this week. Next up, anchor Sarah Sims has a recap and a look ahead at what sports news you need to know. Thanks for watching and have a good night.
During high school, I hung with the wrong crowd and I never graduated.
I helped Santiago in many different ways, like all fathers do, because he always wanted to go to college.
I felt a little embarrassed to come back to school, but eventually, once I came here, I knew that it's for a bigger goal.
He was very dedicated, hardworking. He connected with his teachers. He connected with other students. That was one of the key reasons why he was able to keep forging ahead.
It was amazing to see him graduate. This was one thing that meant so much to him, and of course, it meant so much to us too.
With the help of my father and having my son, that was all the motivation that I needed. That support is everything.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
I think I finally found.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, Mason.
Hey, Mason.
Got a new house. It's looking pretty cool so far. A place that I call home.
I'm teaching Louise how to cook some lasagna.
It only takes a spark to make a fire start.
Thank you.
Study, please. I think I finally found a place to make my own. A place that I call home. This place that I call home.
Hey sports fans, my name is Sarah Sims and I'm here to catch you up on all things sports. For the fourth year in a row, the #2 Georgia Bulldogs win against old-time rival the Florida Gators 34-20 this past weekend. After scraping by, concerns are on Georgia's quarterback Carson Beck, who threw 3 interceptions in consecutive games.
You got to be willing to concede it down and move on, especially when it's first down. And both those were, and 2 of those were those situations. But I still think that 68 out of 73 decision-making processes, he did the right thing and made some really, really elite plays and throws within the game. So.
And as always, you move on to the next, and that's exactly what Kirby Smart is doing. Moving on to next week's opponent, Ole Miss.
It's about us looking kind of inside and saying, what can we improve on and get better at? It's going to help us in this game. It's going to be a very passionate, competitive, high-stakes game on the road in the SEC.
Speaking of high-stakes games, the Georgia Bulldogs women's soccer team moves to the SEC tournament quarterfinals after beating Texas A&M 1-0. Will the Dogs be able to keep their reigning SEC championship title? They will face number 5 Arkansas on Tuesday. Basketball season is back, and the Georgia Bulldogs are hopeful for their upcoming season after a dominant exhibition game against UCF, where the Dogs won 114-76. They will face Tennessee Tech tonight at home at 7:30. That's all we have for you tonight. Coming up after the break, a new therapy group is helping Athens locals unwind through one of America's favorite games, bingo. We'll be right back after this.
People do some pretty cool things in their 40s and 50s. Why should saving for retirement be any different? I mean, they go back to college, learn new instruments, start skateboarding. Okay, maybe that one's not for everybody, but saving for retirement is. With aceyourretirement.org, you can get on track with your retirement savings no matter your age. Just have a 3-minute chat with Avo, the friendly digital retirement coach from AARP. You'll get personalized recommendations based on your input that are easy to understand and work with your lifestyle. It's quick, easy, and free. Plus, it's sponsored by AARP, so you know they got your back.
Gnarly move, Dad.
Thanks, sweetie.
So wherever you are in your retirement savings journey, head to aceyourretirement.org and start chatting with Avo today. That's aceyourretirement.org.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
My Shiro doesn't always wear a cape, but she always has time for a hug, a smile, for going the extra mile. My Shiro stretches every dollar, puts in long hours, puts others first. But now it's your time, Mom. When you're ready to retire, we want you to be able to enjoy it. It's time to start saving now. A free 3-minute online chat can give you the personalized tips you need to start boosting your retirement savings today. Visit aceyourretirement.org.
In Clark County, residents have taken initiative to get people with disabilities more involved. Grady Newsource reporter Ryan Lynch has more.
At Clark County Leisure Services monthly bingo, you'll hear a lot of celebration. The game, which allows every player to win, gives people with disabilities the chance to socialize with peers. Studies show people with disabilities experience loneliness and social isolation at much higher rates than people without disabilities. Programs like the bingo game help fight loneliness by encouraging participants to
talk to, get engaged with other people, you know, meet new people, meet friends.
It's just fun just to get around other people, just to meet the new amazing staff they have here.
Other opportunities include cooking classes, arts and crafts, and gaming in the homework room. Therapeutic specialist Amanda Grimes says these programs have other benefits, including allowing people to
activities where they can just come and relax, whether it's something to help with mobility, cognitive thinking, emotional thinking.
Another thing Grimes says the programs try to address: the stigmas surrounding people with disabilities.
Thing people with disabilities want to be treated like a regular person. They want to feel loved. They want people to engage with them. So when they come here each and every day, we accept them with open arms.
For now, Clark County Leisure Services will continue to champion and love on all people. For Grady Newsource,
good job.
I'm Ryan Lynch.
Lego Mania is coming to Athens this week. Children can join the Bogart Library this Wednesday, November 6th for Lego Mania. This drop-in program invites young engineers to explore their creativity using Legos and other building materials. It's open to all ages, but children under 10 must be accompanied by an adult. And who doesn't love Legos? While Halloween has come to an end, a nonprofit zoo in Winder is still looking for those holiday items that you were planning to throw out.
Hand Me Down Zoo is asking the Barrow County community to donate any used pumpkins, gourds, hay and straw bales, or corn items for their animals to eat and play with.
We allow intake so they don't have to fill up our dumps and trash piles, and then those get processed into food and enrichment resources for the animals here.
This not only helps with food waste in the community, but also helps with the redistribution of seeds from these items. I spoke with Stephen Divers, a professor of zoology at the University of Georgia, about the benefits of feeding pumpkins to zoo and exotic animals.
Pumpkins get, carved, and then a day or two later, people discard all the internal material they get from the pumpkin, and then they discard the actual pumpkin. So that is a huge amount of food waste. So it would be nice if someone could put that to good use.
While pumpkins should not be a constant food in an animal's diet, it is an easy way to provide an animal with a snack or an enrichment item.
If you pack that with its normal food and made it such that it had to kind of find it or play with it, break it up to get to the food, then that might provide some behavioral enrichment.
Before you throw out your carved pumpkin from Halloween, consider saving and donating it to an animal who has more use for it.
It's very important to us that the people can learn how to properly support our wildlife and our animals in captivity.
With more holidays approaching, Hand Me Down Zoo is asking for any edible decorations that you no longer need. Faith James, Grady Newsource.
Well, that's all we have for you tonight. As always, thanks for watching here on Grady Newsource, and we'll see you on Wednesday. Have a good night.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
You're home before sunrise, on top of the house, the kids, and our future. The smell of your cooking is our alarm clock. My Shiro's day is never done. So let's start saving a little more now so we can feel prepared for retirement. A free 3-minute online chat can give us the personalized tips we need so we can live our lives to the fullest. Visit aceyourretirement.org.
Julie was always a voracious reader. She'd carry 2 novels on an airplane because she'd read one on a 3-4 hour ride. And at some point, I began to notice that she would read a page and couldn't remember what she had just read, and she'd have to go back and read it again.
I don't remember much these days after I read, but less does for me, and I love it.
Hey world, I have a quick message. It's about safe driving. All right, let's go. Anytime you're driving, have the seatbelt buckled tight. Both hands on the wheel and your phone out of sight. When not in your hand, trying to text somebody back. Because if you do, your car might get smacked. The moral of the story, just put your phone down. The people on the road will stay safe and sound. Put your phone down, put your phone down. People on the road will stay safe and sound. Yeah.
Live and great show, I hear myself. Great show. I think it was very informative, starting with a live political analyst instead of recording as we planned it initially. So everything happens for a reason. Our analyst couldn't do a recording, so we said we'll go live, and I think it worked out very well. Very solid anchoring, Jackson. You were right on the mark with everything, with your questions. You kept us going, and it was very, very well done. Also, the weather and the sports, excellent job. Ethan, very well done. First time producing. It wasn't an easy show. And yeah, so I would like, Riley, I would like for you to share. You told me you learned a lot from covering your second campaign. So share with the rest of the class, because you have now the most experience of something really valuable. So what can you share with?
Yeah, so I'm glad I did the Trump one first. It kind of, I don't know. I feel like it just made me prepared to cover the Kamala one. But yeah, I just learned a lot. I just was focusing on reporting the facts, and anything that both politicians said, if they said something that could be fact-checked, I tried to, and to show that it happens on both sides. It's not just one or the other. They both do it, and I hope my videos...
Well done with the live shot. Very well done. Thank you.
But I hope my video showed that, and I love doing political coverage. It like sparked a fire in me that will never stop, I think.
That's what you need, because it takes a lot out of you to cover such events. So I'm glad you got that fire in your belly. Yeah, anybody else wants to share something they learned today? Grab a mic. Here.
I just wanted to say for everyone in the class, I had a little bit of an issue with communication with the SID. I did reach out to him before I did interviews today, but I didn't have full permission, and so he told me in the future, if you are trying to do a story with athletes, to please reach out to the SID first and get that confirmed through him. Obviously, it was a misstep for me. I was just kind of feeling desperate with time and everything, which all of us obviously experience at one point or another, but yeah, so just try to make sure you go through the SID for any player-coach communication. Do not reach directly out to players or coaches. But it turned out fine, obviously. Hopefully, forgiveness, you know. But yeah, so that's it for me.
But you did ask for, you did apologize.
Yes, I did apologize to him like several times in email, and when I saw him, I made sure to say I apologize. It was a misstep for me, and I'll make sure. He asked me to tell you for future students, so this is why I'm saying to everyone, and then of course you, just make sure that you go through the SID first. So yeah.
Thank you for sharing. That's really, really important. So other students can have access also to, because we've had trouble with certain institutions when a student kind of doesn't do the right thing. It takes time to repair relations and rebuild trust, so it's important that you mentioned that. Great packages, all of you, really good stuff. I love how you narrated your package. You weren't in a hurry, and or you weren't doing, or you didn't do special English. Special English for those with English as a special. No, that was good, and all of you, great close-ups, great formatting. I have to look again. I wasn't able to look at everything, but if I notice something finally that you need to know, I'll let you know. I'll look at everything again. But whatever I was able to see, I was really proud and really, really happy with all of you. Noah, do you want to share something with? No, because you had to pivot and you still pulled off a live with some important information. Yeah.
Today was good. I had fun.
That is all. I don't have much else. I guess, yeah, it was a little interesting with my whole situation today. But it worked out. Voting story happened, sort of. And what was it? Who I talked? Lisa. Can't remember her last name. Yeah, she apparently used to be a freelance journalist, and that's why she helps us so much. I thought that was really cool. We were talking after the interview. That's all I have to share today.
Yeah, yeah. It's always good. We stand up for each other. Yeah, and I know that you and Ethan work close. He gave you an idea of how to do this. I want to hand it over to Ethan if you want to share a little bit more about your day and what you learned. And I hope that, you know, if you are ever asked to produce, you might consider it despite this tough day. But you still, you know, you managed to pull off a very good show on a very important day. This wasn't easy. Yeah, it was a good show. And you were telling me how you learned that you have to pivot, like what happened with the guest, and you had to figure it out with seconds to spare. And so tell us a little bit what you learned and what you want to share with the rest of us.
Well, there's this thing in life where with everything that you do, at some point you're going to have to try it, do it for the first time. Now, the unfortunate thing about doing it for the first time is when it doesn't go well, you're going to want to quit, and you can't do that. So I learned that sometimes in some things it's better to just relinquish control just before you even start. So today I had this plan in place to put the interview in the B block. We're going to run the whole B block, and then we're going to do it this way. And that fell apart immediately. Like as soon as I got here, my whole show was ruined. And then, like, you know, you plan ahead a lot because I was driving in 3 hours of traffic. So, like, when all of that falls through, all you can do is just, like, pull from what you got. Lucky for me, I'm blessed enough to be, like, in this class where everybody's just like, bro, so good. So, like, even when I was short in some areas or, like, I was late on this or, you know, whatever, at least I knew that whatever was going to go up on that screen was going to be good. So I appreciate all of you for that.
Definitely.
Also, want to throw out those apologies for all that applied, because, you know, hey, man, this is tough. Y'all have done it. And then my advice to anybody in the future that wanted to produce is it's tough.
You're tired.
It's tough and draining, and my head just stopped hurting. I just stopped shaking, and I threw up. But once you see the show put together, I guess that's worth it for some people. Not for me, but I do appreciate all of you, and it was a really good show. And I'm wishing Jackson the best on Wednesday. And since he had to leave early, shout out to Dr. Bullock for showing up and pulling through. So thanks, guys.
And we were talking about the post-election show, and are you up, since you know you were drained by producing, are you up to doing this live the way, you know, we did it with you?
So the plan right now, Jackson, is we're going to go live come
if
Wednesday
you're able
morning.
to,
Yeah,
if
they're
you're
not
able
gonna,
to.
they're gonna show up. Yeah. Cool.
Just make sure that they know, and if you guys, you know, if you guys want to do that.
Yeah. Dr. Hayes, if you're watching, I'll come pick you up.
Okay. And Lizzie and Nigel, take it away. How I saw you were having a lot of fun, doing all sorts of strange things, catching umbrellas.
But yeah, no, today was fun. I've DP'd before. I liked it a lot the first time I did it. I liked it today too. It just, I was talking to Sydney about this. Like, it just feels like the whole day is like constant busy work, and it's very, and that can be kind of draining. Even though it feels like you're doing a lot of nothing, but you actually are getting stuff done. So yeah, I feel good with the packages we got up. We had a lot of really great content today, obviously, and then, you know, like, I'm looking at a lot of people here who we got their packages up on digital for more people to see. So a lot of really important stories, which I thought was great. And yeah, that was kind of just about it. You know, thanks for you guys for cooperating. And I'm also.
Can you show us what you did? We were talking about doing that.
How
I
did
forgot to remind you. Do you have anything? Can you show us?
Yeah, we got some stuff.
Yeah.
We can watch Nigel for 10 minutes if we want.
Yeah. Right.
So all you need to do is pull up the social news desk, and we'll get it.
Does the social news desk show Instagram stories?
I showed it on, like I went to Instagram in the browser.
Or you could go to social news desk where you have all the.
Yeah, I just don't know how, like it doesn't show the same way. The actual platform does.
Also, you think it's better to.
Or if there's a way, I didn't figure it out.
Yeah, now it's going to give you a code that you have to enter. Once you go to this little thing up here and start mirroring. Oh, where? Open up.
I don't know where anything is.
Yeah.
Okay.
And here, up here, mirror and select Apple. And enter this code, 8433. And then it should show up. Yeah. Pardon? I know, I'm just, one is not enough.
Wait a second.
This is my worst fear. Okay.
So we got a lot of content out on social media. This is just some. Oh, let me talk.
So okay, we got Tori's package up, and yes, I don't know why, but the thumbnail is black blank. I'm gonna go back when I get home tonight. I'm gonna re-upload a new one. And then we got some photos of the wonderful half that Keisha covered. I thought your package was great, by the way.
Very nice, very well done.
So yeah.
And a very cute stand-up, yeah.
That was very cute, yeah. Oh, this is fire. Don't hear that shit? Okay, sorry. I'll play it again,
Jackson Rowland with your Grady Daily, and here are 3 things that you need to know.
Nice background with the ladder.
Hey, this is my idea.
It's Election Day Eve, and both presidential candidates are making their final push toward the finish line.
There's Nigel. You can see him. He was like waving his arms up and down, so.
It was a little chilly out there.
Kamala Harris held a rally just.
But you guys can watch the rest. But he did great. And then we got a shot of Riley's.
To always put country above party and self, and I pledge to you to be a president for all Americans.
A little bit of slice of life, very fun. And so that was that. And then we had some stuff go on Facebook too, but they were all the same stuff that we had here. And now, if you want to take it away for the Instagram stories, we can show it.
So I know like DCing is probably like the easiest, not the easiest, but like nothing compared to anything else. I'm gonna be doing the DC for I guess we're just going into it. So I'm gonna be doing the DC for the Sojo show, and I kind of just want to have fun with it. Like Ethan and them had a really good idea, but it didn't really get fleshed out when they did the whole like let's look around the newsroom. So I'm like, what's going on? What did people not see? What's going on before the show, during the show, all this type of stuff? And I feel like, if I'm being honest, the DC is the only person who kind of has that amount of time to focus on that. So you guys were hard at work, and we made sure that was showcased.
Nice.
Can you play it?
Yep.
Today's show, and the last 30 minutes before we go live is the most peaceful time anywhere in Georgia.
The calm before the storm.
We go live to all of our wonderful MMJs, reporters, and anchors, and talk to them ourselves. This is the wonderful studio we have. We've got all of our amazing anchors. We've got our sports anchor, Sarah, right here. We got Melanie, weather girl, going crazy today. And we've got a special feature that we got to tell you guys to tune in for. Don't want to give a surprise in. The studio has all the fancy cameras and bright lights. I gotta be quiet. I'm gonna show you guys where real magic happens. But we go live in like 9 minutes, so I can't really talk about too much. I think you guys are gonna want to see what's going on over there.
break out your umbrellas, because it's about to get wet this week in Athens. First real stretch of rain since hurricane week in September. Now, we've seen a pretty cloudy and
Flawless.
Good job, yeah.
Tech teams in the control room. Where are the MMJs? Let's go find them. Grady Newsource.
Nice, very nice.
So yeah,
very nice.
I'm glad I could kind of have fun with it. I want to do some more stuff like that in the Sojo. I actually only got logged in at like 4:30, so hopefully we can do more stuff throughout the day. But I don't know, just kind of try and have fun because I know it's not always fun. I know it's not always like the easiest time. So just add a little humor to what we do because it's not easy every day.
It's not.
Oh, and one last thing. I know I definitely reached out to more of you than what I'm on Instagram. I had a couple go up on Facebook too that aren't on here, and but also if you wanted to get something posted on digital today and have it live forever online, feel free to reach out to me. I'd be more than happy to do that tonight. I never ever stop doing Newsource, so I'm always here for you guys. There we go. But yeah, just want to throw that out there. If you want to package it up, let me know, and I can get it up there. And that's all I had.
Wonderful, guys. Great job. Great job. I love the enthusiasm, the creativity. Very nice. And the fact you're getting some tips from the pro here.
Yeah, no, she was killing it. No, she was killing it.
Like, the posts we made were just because Dr. Bright, approved it quickly. So, yeah, don't.
Yeah, shout out Dr. Bright. I will say, a lot of stuff, she's over the post and everything, but if you have something creative and you come to her with a vision, she will go for it in all caps. She will let you know that she's cool with it. So shout out her for, being super supportive, even though she didn't even, even though she wasn't even physically here, she was here in spirit. So shout out Dr. Bright.
Shout out to Dr. Bright. Yeah, so should we talk about Wednesday a little bit? Do we have to talk a little bit more? And then a little bit about the Sojo show, but Wednesday is the most important. So I have my peeps, the 5 of you who will be covering the election. You will have to go tomorrow and observe the vote, talk to voters, observe the whole process as much as you can, have access to know where you're going to get the latest results. Is it going to be just by the website, or can you also talk to some of the poll workers to find out how, from their perspective, things are going, anything unusual. Look for things that are unusual. This is such an unprecedented election after the high voter turnout before the election. What do they think? How are things moving on election day? Anything you can gather that's interesting, unusual, capture that, talk to voters, see if they can let you as close as possible to film the whole process. They will not let you inside where people are voting because that's against the law, but see what you can get. Have you been in touch, and have they told you, how they want you to handle the election?
I do
so
know
far?
that a lot of officials have said that they're extremely busy and won't be available for it.
Yeah.
So I was planning on depending on voter interviews after. And by the
Yeah.
way, everyone, just to be clear, it is illegal to interview people while they're waiting in line. It is illegal. So do not be interviewing people until after they've come out from voting. That's the only time.
Yeah, and don't ask them who they voted for.
You can actually, yes, you should.
You could?
Yes, and you
Okay.
should. You absolutely should ask who they voted for. Save it for last, but there's nothing wrong with asking that question. You're allowed to ask that question. And, it's up to them whether they want to answer you or not. Don't push it, but, that's one of the most important things to be, discussing. So
And another important thing, what is the issue that decided your vote?
So,
And whatever comes to mind, you listen to people, and whatever happened during the day, let's say there was a long voter line, some people gave up and went home, ask some of the people who are kind of giving up, why are you giving up? Or, you don't know what's going to happen, and that's the beauty of the whole thing. that ask for reactions to whatever happens that appears to be something out of the ordinary, a surprise. And that's what we're looking for, just a wrap of, what were the main issues on voters' minds. And there might be some people, some of the candidates might be around, away from the polling station. They might still be campaigning. That has happened, try to reach people till the last moment. So you could get some of the candidates, but again, do both sides if you're going to get some of the candidates.
If we can get like the county official, where should we pivot to? I'm going to try and just show up tomorrow, because Elizabeth told me that she's really just not good at responding unless you go to her, and she's really nice in person. But where should I pivot if the main election department girl is not?
Because I'm reporting the county tomorrow night for Barrow County, and I got this information from Elizabeth too. There's people that work underneath Monica. I don't know their names or anything about them, but I think if you go on their website, there's people that work underneath her. You could try them.
Okay.
Yeah. And people aren't going to be responding to email until tonight. And they're going to be going to sleep early because they're going to have an 18-hour day. So you should just show up and talk to people anyone that you can.
Yeah, yeah. I've shown up, and I was even allowed in Chicago, where I did the 2016 election. They allowed me to report live, set up a live camera from inside the polling place, of course, away from where voters were casting their votes, and it was a very interesting live shot. So you never know. You just have to show up. You have to talk to people and see what they let you do, and really observe anything unusual. Like long lines or something happens, that.
Can I say there was in South Carolina last week at an early voting station, there was a fight that broke out because someone a voter refused to take off their candidate main apparel that you're not allowed to be wearing while you're voting. And so
Was that in Florida? We mentioned.
South Carolina.
South Carolina as well?
The poll worker and had to be physically.
Wasn't that in Florida?
Things like that are happening a lot. It's not.
Oh, yeah. So I didn't know that. Yeah.
Things like this are happening, and there's a likelihood that.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's just something to be thinking about. I know.
Oh, the Florida was the machete. That's right.
I got a question.
And Texas was. Sorry, I forgot about you.
Okay. So I'm quick turn on Wednesday. Do you want quick turn to stay away from elections since everybody else is doing election stuff? And then if we can do election stuff, I don't know if I would be able to, but I'm going to vote on Tuesday. Is there anything I could do, like a whole come with me to vote, or I voted on Wednesday? Obviously not
You're not allowed to record the ballot.
not in the like me. Yeah, no, not me actually voting, but hey, I drove home. I woke up at 6 a.m. because there's long lines, and then posting, but nothing in.
Yeah.
Nothing, obviously nothing recorded inside, nothing recorded in line,
yeah.
But just
Yeah, well, what would it add to, which county were you? You're in Oconee County.
This is my house. So I'm going home, this is Bartow County. So
this is Bartow County.
So it's Northeast Georgia. I mean, well, it's Georgia, but it's so I can do something else, but I was just throwing it out there here is someone a voter.
Yeah. Well, it's about yourself, and you're supposed to be a journalist, so yeah, I wouldn't do that unless I'm not seeing something. And we are covering all the counties, we already have that. But if there's something unusual that happens while you're at that polling station, by all means capture it, get a reaction from whatever happened that's unusual, that's really important. But if everything is going according to plan, then just focus on casting your ballot. But it's not about us. We don't want to be the stars of the show.
I just wanted to know if I was going to get an answer now instead of pulling up the Zoom meeting at 9
But
a.m.
don't miss anything.
I won't miss anything.
Yeah, if there's something that happens, that's unusual, capture it, and we can talk about it. But prepare for something
else.
Yeah, for something else.
I think you got some hands raised.
I got it.
Yeah.
This is just, so I'm working on helping Kira with the election day show tomorrow night. And we have a package that was supposed to be done by another class that they didn't get done, but we like a man on the street, like what is democracy mean to you video, very briefly by 6 p.m. tomorrow. If anyone is willing to do that, we'd really appreciate it. It would help us out a lot. I don't know, maybe you could use it for Wednesday, even if it turns out well or it turns out, you know. So just.
We can't repeat the content which is from the previous day.
They're repeating a lot of things at the election show, so I don't know.
Yeah, but for us, we have to do the day after election.
Okay.
That's the whole thing, that you guys will be doing the election night, and we will do, you know, the rest of it, what happened after the election.